All right, guys, welcome to the Worship League. Thanks for joining in. I wanted to do a quick overview of my 2018 pedal board setup. Expanded it a little bit. I did do a video on my last year's pedal board setup that I was using. You'll see some of the pedals very similar. I've added a new delay, a new overdrive, a buffer pedal, also an additional power supply underneath just to power all this goodness. But yeah, like I said, figured I would share with you all. And don't forget to subscribe. We're a growing channel. Comment below. I'd love to hear from you all. Hopefully we can share practices with each other and grow together. God bless you, and praying for you always. Always remember that. But let's jump right in. I want to go into my little black buffer here from JHS. I just picked this up actually. And could not be happier. I can hear my tone just increase. Really, you would have to hear it, which I will make a video at a later time for that, but has just helped my sound and tone so much just by having that buffer, especially if you're running a large chain like this, since your signal has to pass through each and every in and output. Even if you're running stereo, your additional inputs and outputs there as well. So this definitely helps to push your signal through all of this goodness pretty quick. Then I come out of that, run into the Keeley compressor here, which I love. I've had that for a long time now. It hasn't let me down. Let me get you all in focus a little bit there. Cool. And then, again, run everything pretty much like at 12 o'clock there. Run into the JHS Morning Glory, which this pedal is always on. Run at a pretty light overdrive, transparent drive, just as it's intended to be for. You could run it a little bit heavier, but I just run it always on. Transparent overdrive gives that really, really nice, crisp sound, especially for worship guitar. Come out of the JHS Morning Glory into my Super Bolt here, which you could say in worship terms, a second stage drive, which it just does just that. If I need just a little bit more boost, I'll just kick that thing on, and it really does its job very, very well. That nice Supra tone that we all like. Come out of the JHS Super Bolt into my JHS Moonshine, which I just picked up actually. That would be my third stage drive. So if I just need that, again, that step 3 extra boost, especially for those really, really nice leads, I add a little bit of delay and reverb. Sounds really, really cool. Gives my tone a really nice lift. Mentioning the word lift would be the POG, which I run into next, which I can add the POG into some of my lead lines very, very subtly, if that's a word, but it's very subtle for the POG, a really, really light, low, and high octave. Just gives your tone a really, really nice lift, which I will do a video of that in a future video. Yeah, can't talk today, but it's all good. Bear with me, guys. Then come into my Ernie Ball, my anniversary pedal, which I switched to this because I was just breaking these things left and right with that flimsy little string in there. So this one's got the Kevlar string in it, so it should be a lot sturdier. I've had it for a few months now. It's good to go so far, but we will definitely see. Thinking about going to like a Goodrich audio volume pedal, but a little expensive right now, which you would say, Tyler, you have all of these pedals, why couldn't you afford that? That's a really, really good question. So well, that's one for a later time. Then I got the Polytune, which I just used a tuner out from the volume pedal here. This Polytune is the larger size, really, really nice big display. You can use really any tuner. There's a lot of talk about how it sucks your tone and depletes your tone, or however you want to say it, but I haven't really heard much of a difference. Again, with the buffer, it really, really helps push all of that through, all your tone through all the signal, and you're good to go. So yeah, moving forward, come out of the out of the volume pedal into the El Capistan, which I just recently picked up. This is a D-tape echo pedal, super versatile. I use it just primarily to add just a little bit more glimmer, if you will, or just, again, that word lift to my tone, especially in those worship moments where I really want to get that gliss out of my tone. If I'm wanting to do some swells, I can add that in with some additional delays and just really get a unique sound. I'm all about creating sounds that people haven't heard before to create a new worship experience, especially if God's leading you to be more, just a little bit extra and creative. You can definitely add that in there. But moving forward, let me skip to this here. This is my disaster area DMC controller, which controls my Mobius, Big Sky, and Timeline, because they're all MIDI compatible. So I can set my presets. If I hit A on, say, bank 1, if I have Big Sky, Mobius, and Timeline engaged, it'll all switch to one preset that I have. So especially if I'm leading worship, which I do sometimes, and I need to switch effects on the fly, I don't have to change this one, change this one, change this one. I just hit one button and they all change at one time. I can go to swells, back to my rhythm guitar very, very easily, very, very seamlessly, and continue singing and leading worship and keeping the transparency there, because that's super important in worship. You want to make sure that the congregation keeps their eyes on God and not on the worship team, because it's not about us, right? It's about serving God and facilitating that for God's people, that's for sure. So that's what I use for that. Come out of the El Capistan into the Mobius, which I use this very rarely, but it's very subtle when I do. So you really probably wouldn't hear much of it, but it is there and really creates, again, unique tones in certain situations. So I really, really like this pedal. I just like the flexibility of having that, whether if I want to throw in like a chorus or a little bit of like a pattern tremolo and some kind of swell realm there, which I will show you all that at a later time. It's really, really cool to kind of get outside of the normal box that sometimes we stay in, which can be okay, but cannot be okay most of the time. So I come out in Mobius, come into the Big Sky, which I would not give up this pedal for anything. We're all friends here. Let me just move my camera over just a tad here. All right, cool. So Big Sky, fresh pedal. Love this thing. I usually use like a room hall, a plate reverb. They all really, really professional rack style sounding, studio quality reverbs. Really, really enjoy this pedal a lot. You can use the Cloud, which is one of their signature, especially for swells. Really gives a nice ambient feel to the song if you choose. And you can also turn the decay up on your room reverbs and hall, or again, however you feel that you're being led to use it. It's super versatile. Again, let's get outside of the norm. That's my goal for this channel, for life, for worship in general, just to keep thinking outside of the box and not just stay in one place all the time. Let's always continue to learn and grow. But then I come out of my Big Sky into my Timeline, which everyone knows about the Timeline. But you may be asking, Tyler, why in the world do you have a Timeline and a El Cap? Well, I sometimes will combine them together, especially for swells. I'll do like a dotted eighth on my Timeline, do something like a quarter note on the El Cap, give it a really, really nice kind of, again, unique feel, something that just will create a different kind of experience if I'm led to do so. So I'll have that versatility there, but a lot of times I'll just have like a nice dotted eighth on the Timeline set to one of my patches on my DMC controller. But yeah, that's really it. Underneath the board, I have a Zuma power supply by Strymon and also an Ojai power supply. I have them connected together that powers all of this, and I still have two outputs open, which really, really cool, nice, clean power. See if I can show you all just real quick. Yeah, that's that there. Bam. Zuma, Ojai, just kind of started organizing the bottom there. It's like the funnest part of any pedal board, everyone knows, but that's that. But yeah, they're just connected there, and again, super clean power. I like it. You can have all of that capability to power so many pedals, but have one line of power coming out the back of your board, which is really, really cool. Keeps everything streamlined. But yeah, let me stop rambling. Again, this is a pedal train. Let's see, Novo 32. It's the biggest one they got. I'm not sure what I'm going to do if I decide to get any more pedals, which we all know that we will. But yeah, that kind of wraps it up. Again, if you have any comments, please reach out. Again, this is a community that we're supposed to talk to each other, and again, think outside the box, think of new ways to do things. I would love to do some podcasts in the future as well on some leadership principles, coaching, things like that. So definitely tune in, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your church. Again, not just about this channel, but just about the concept of growing together. Share that with your teams, connect with your team, communicate with your team in a clear and concise way so we can all grow together. But again, thanks guys for tuning in. Love you. See you next time. New videos coming soon. Have a good week.